Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where everyone is looking for the best investment. Stocks, gold, real estate, crypto. But let me ask you, what if I told you there is one investment that never crashes, never loses value, and always gives the best returns? The question is not about money, but about where we put our heart, our time, and our energy. True wealth is not material. We have been conditioned from a very young age to believe that money is everything, that success is measured by the size of our bank accounts, the value of our cars, or the grandeur of our houses. Yet, if you pause and look deeply into the lives of people who have everything that the world chases, you will realize a powerful truth. Having money is not the same as having wealth. A person may be rich in possessions, but poor in peace, surrounded by luxury, but starved of love, admired by the world, yet lonely in their own heart. Money can buy you a comfortable bed, but it cannot buy you restful sleep. It can buy you the best food, but it cannot give you an appetite or good digestion. It can buy you companions who sit around you, but it cannot buy true friends who will stand with you in your lowest moments. Wealth, in its true sense, goes far beyond material things. It is measured by the strength of our character, the depth of our relationships, the peace of our mind, and the joy of our soul. When someone has these treasures, even if they live in a small house, they live like a king. But when someone lacks these, even if they live in a palace, they are impoverished inside. Real wealth lies in what cannot be stolen, what cannot be taken away by economic downturns, and what does not depreciate with time. A generous heart, a compassionate nature, a mind filled with wisdom, and a soul anchored in gratitude. These are the treasures that define a truly wealthy person. This is why, if we wish to invest, we must invest not just in what fills our pockets, but in what fills our hearts. Because at the end of life, the true measure of success will not be counted in dollars and gold, but in smiles we created, kindness we offered, and peace we nurtured within. Investing in relationships is perhaps the most rewarding investment a human being can ever make. Because people are not assets that depreciate, they are souls that grow with the love, care, and trust we pour into them. In a world obsessed with financial portfolios and return on capital, we often forget that the most meaningful return on life comes from the bonds we nurture with those around us. When we give our time, our attention, and our genuine concern to another human being, we are sowing seeds that blossom into trust, loyalty, and love, treasures that no bank in the world can store. Relationships thrive not because of grand gestures, but because of consistent small acts of kindness, words of encouragement, and the patience to listen when someone needs to be heard. Think about it. What good is all the wealth in the world if there is no one to share it with? A successful career without supportive family feels hollow, and luxurious possessions without loving friendships feel meaningless. When we invest in relationships, we are not only securing companionship in moments of joy, but also building a safety net of love and support for the storms of life. Everyone goes through seasons of hardship, and during those times, it is not money that brings comfort, but the arms of a friend, the understanding of a spouse, or the encouragement of a mentor. Relationships also teach us humility because they require compromise, forgiveness, and the ability to see beyond our own ego. They shape our character and deepen our humanity in ways that no financial investment ever could. Over time, the dividends of love and trust return to us in abundance. They come back as smiles that uplift us, as prayers whispered for us, as sacrifices made silently for our well-being, even long after we are gone. The relationships we cultivated become our living legacy because people remember not how much we earned, but how much we cared. To invest in relationships is to invest in the eternal, for bonds of the heart outlast the fleeting wealth of this world. Time is the real currency of life, far more valuable than gold, silver, or any paper note that we hold in our wallets. The difference between time and money is that money lost can always be earned back, but a single moment wasted can never be retrieved. Every day, life deposits 24 hours into our account, and how we choose to spend those hours decides the quality of our existence. Yet, most people treat time casually, as if it were endless. They spend it carelessly scrolling, gossiping, or chasing trivialities, forgetting that each tick of the clock is a reminder that our days on this earth are numbered. When we understand that time is limited, we begin to live more wisely. The richest man in the world and the poorest man in the street are both equal in one regard. They are given the same 24 hours in a day. What makes the difference is not how much they own, but how intentionally they use those hours. If you spend your time chasing only wealth, you may end up with money but not meaning. If you invest your time in people you love, in causes that matter, in growth that shapes you, then you create treasures that will outlive you. Think about the moments when your parents gave you their time, sitting with you, listening to you, teaching you. That investment of time has shaped who you are today more than any gift or money ever could. Think about a friend who sat with you in silence during your pain. Their presence, their time, gave you strength that no currency could buy. Time is also the greatest test of our priorities. Where we spend it reveals what we truly value. We may say family is important, but if we never give them our time, the truth is exposed. We may claim health matters, but if we never dedicate time to rest, exercise, and nourishing ourselves, our words remain hollow. To invest time wisely means to use it consciously, to pour it into relationships that matter, to devote it to personal growth, to spend it in service of others, and to dedicate it to spiritual connection. When time is used well, it multiplies joy, deepens bonds, and strengthens our character. And when our final day arrives, we will not regret the money we didn't make, but the time we didn't spend where it mattered most. That is why time, not money, is the true currency of life, and how we invest it will determine the richness of our journey on this earth. Character over cash is one of the most profound truths we often forget in the rush of life. Money may open doors, but character is what keeps them open. Wealth can buy influence, but it is character that earns respect. A person who has great riches, but a poor character, will eventually find that their relationships are shallow, their reputation is fragile, and their happiness is short-lived. On the other hand, someone who may not possess great material wealth, but has honesty, humility, and integrity will always be rich in the eyes of others. Cash can purchase temporary admiration, but character commands lasting honor. If you think about it, money can make people sit at your table, but only character will make them stay with you even when the food is gone. Character is built through choices, through small decisions made consistently in truth and integrity. It is not shaped overnight, but over years of living with values and principles. When someone chooses to be honest, when dishonesty would be more profitable, they are investing in their character. When someone forgives, instead of holding on to bitterness, they are polishing their character. When someone remains humble in success and grateful in failure, they are enriching their character. And this investment pays back, not just in how others see us, but in the peace we carry within ourselves. A guilty conscience cannot be silenced by wealth, but a clear conscience brings a joy that no money can buy. In the business world, many people think cash is the ultimate king. But history has shown us that companies collapse and reputations crumble when character is compromised. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired, no matter how much money is spent. Families too do not thrive on wealth alone. They thrive on trustworthiness, loyalty, and love, all of which come from character, not cash. When children look up to their parents, what truly inspires them is not the money their parents earned, but the values they lived by. Similarly, when people remember us after we are gone, they will not talk about the brand of clothes we wore or the balance in our accounts. They will remember our kindness, our integrity, and the way we treated others. In the long run, cash may provide comfort, but character provides meaning. Cash may attract people toward us, but character makes them respect us. Cash may give us a house, but character will make that house a home. And most importantly, cash will remain in this world when we die, but character will continue to live in the hearts of those we touched. That is why, if one must choose between building cash and building character, the wiser choice is always to invest in character because it gives the highest return, a legacy that can never be stolen or forgotten. Kindness compounds in ways we cannot always see immediately, but over time it grows and multiplies, coming back into our lives with greater strength than when we first gave it. Just like money invested in the right place grows with interest, kindness invested in the lives of people never goes to waste. A small act of kindness, a smile, a word of encouragement, a helping hand may seem like nothing in the moment, but it has the power to change someone's day or even someone's life. And what is most beautiful is that kindness does not diminish when given away, it multiplies. When you light one candle from another, the first flame does not lose its glow, but together the room becomes brighter. In the same way, when we choose to be kind, we do not lose anything, but we spread light that can illuminate many lives. Kindness also has a ripple effect. When you are kind to someone, they are inspired to be kind to another, and then that person passes it forward again. The chain can continue endlessly, reaching people you may never meet, creating an invisible wave of goodness in the world. What is more powerful than this is that kindness often returns to us at the moment we need it most. There are countless stories of people who once helped someone in a small way, only to be saved or supported by that very person, or by someone inspired by their kindness years later. Life has a way of circling back blessings to those who plant seeds of goodness. Unlike wealth, kindness requires no special degree, no huge bank account, no social status. It is available to every human being at every moment. It is the wealth of the heart accessible to the poorest and the richest alike. A person may be unable to give money, but they can give a smile. They may not be able to solve all problems, but they can listen with compassion. And sometimes, that is enough to heal wounds that nothing else could. What also makes kindness powerful is that it softens the hardest of hearts. Anger, bitterness, and hatred may resist logic, but they often melt in the face of consistent kindness. When we respond with kindness instead of revenge, with gentleness instead of cruelty, we break cycles of negativity and create spaces where healing and peace can grow. Kindness is not weakness, it is strength under control. It takes far more courage to be kind to someone who has wronged you than to retaliate in anger. But in choosing kindness, we elevate ourselves and plant seeds that will bear fruit not just in our lives, but in the lives of others. And above all, kindness outlives us. Long after our possessions are gone and our names are forgotten in the rush of history, people will still remember how we made them feel. A kind word at the right time, a hand stretched out in support, a gesture of compassion in someone's darkest moment. These things leave imprints on the soul that are never erased. So kindness, in truth, is not only something that compounds in the present, but something that carries forward into eternity, becoming a part of our legacy. When we invest in kindness, we are investing in something far more powerful than wealth or status. We are investing in the goodness of humanity itself. Gratitude attracts abundance in ways that go far beyond what our eyes can see. It is not simply a polite thank you when something good happens. It is a deep state of awareness that everything we have, big or small, is a gift. Gratitude transforms the way we see the world, and in doing so, it transforms the world itself. A person who lives with gratitude learns to focus not on what is missing, but on what is already present. Instead of dwelling on scarcity, they recognize the blessings already overflowing in their life. And this mindset, this perspective of appreciation, becomes a magnet for even more blessings. When you are thankful, you shift your heart into a state of openness, and that openness allows life to give you more. Think about how people respond to gratitude. When you give someone a gift and they show deep appreciation, you naturally feel inspired to give again. But when someone takes it for granted or shows entitlement, you feel no joy in giving. In the same way, when we are grateful for what life or God has given us, we naturally attract more abundance because gratitude creates a flow. It is like watering a plant. Gratitude nourishes what we already have so it can grow into more. When we complain constantly, we cut off the water supply, and even the good we possess begins to wither. Gratitude is also powerful because it changes the emotional climate of our hearts. It is almost impossible to be truly grateful and deeply miserable at the same time. When we focus on our blessings, health, family, opportunities, the gift of another day, we train our minds to see positivity even in hardship. This does not mean ignoring problems, but it means not allowing problems to blind us to the good that still exists. People who practice gratitude consistently are proven to live with less stress, more peace, and greater joy because gratitude creates contentment, and contentment is itself a form of wealth. Gratitude also has the power to heal relationships. When we express appreciation to those around us, when we acknowledge their efforts and sacrifices, It deepens love and strengthens bonds. Everyone longs to feel valued, and a simple expression of gratitude can touch a heart more deeply than expensive gifts ever could. On the other hand, when gratitude is absent, even the most giving relationships eventually wither because people feel unappreciated. Even in spirituality, gratitude is central. The more we thank God for the blessings we see, the more we begin to notice blessings we once overlooked. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the friendships we enjoy, the lessons we learn, even pain that teaches us resilience, all of these can become sources of gratitude. And when we live with this awareness, we stop chasing abundance because we realize abundance has already been given to us. Gratitude is not only about what we say, but how we live. A grateful person walks through life with humility, acknowledging that nothing is owed to them, that everything is a gift. This posture of the heart makes them more generous, more compassionate, and more joyful, and these qualities in turn attract people, opportunities, and blessings into their life. Gratitude is like a magnet. It pulls abundance toward you not because life suddenly gives more, but because your eyes are open to seeing how much you already have. And when our life comes to an end, people will not remember how much we owned, but how much we appreciated. They will recall how we spoke with joy about simple things, how we radiated peace because we were content, and how we uplifted others by reminding them to be thankful too. Gratitude, in truth, is not only an investment into our own happiness, but also into the happiness of everyone around us. When we live in gratitude, we live in abundance, because abundance is not measured by how much we hold in our hands, but by how full our hearts are. Learning never depreciates because knowledge and wisdom are assets that no market crash, no thief, and no time can ever take away from us. Unlike material possessions that lose their shine, break down, or become outdated, what we learn only grows in value the more we use it. A car loses its worth the moment it leaves the showroom. A phone becomes old within a year. Even houses need repairs and lose their glory over time. But a lesson learned, a skill acquired, or a piece of wisdom gained continues to serve us for the rest of our lives, often multiplying in impact as we share it with others. Learning is not just about filling our minds with information, it is about shaping the way we think, the way we respond to life, and the way we grow as human beings. Every great achievement in history has been born out of learning. The inventions we depend on, the medicine that saves lives, the philosophies that guide societies, all of these are fruits of learning. A person who continuously learns is like a tree that keeps putting out fresh leaves, never becoming stagnant, always alive and relevant. On the other hand, when someone stops learning, they stop growing. They may still be alive, but their thinking becomes rigid, their perspective narrow, and their life stagnant. This is why true wealth lies not in the possessions we accumulate, but in the wisdom we acquire. The richer our mind becomes, the richer our life becomes. The beauty of learning is that it opens doors we did not even know existed. A single book can change the way we see the world. A single conversation can plant a seed that alters the course of our future. A single lesson from failure can teach us more than years of comfort ever could. And the best part is, learning is never wasted. Even the knowledge that seems irrelevant at one time can later become the exact tool we need for a challenge we never expected. Life has a way of connecting the dots backward, and often what we learned years ago suddenly becomes useful in ways we could never have predicted. Learning also builds confidence. When we know more, we are better equipped to handle life's uncertainties. We walk with courage into the unknown, not because we have all the answers, but because we have trained our minds to adapt, to seek, and to grow. And this confidence becomes a source of peace in difficult times, because while money can be lost in an instant, what we know and who we have become through learning can never be taken away. Moreover, learning enriches not only us but everyone around us. When we learn patience, we become better parents, friends, and partners. When we learn communication, we build stronger relationships. When we learn discipline, we inspire others by our example. The investment in learning compounds because it passes through us to others, improving not just one life but many. And when we share knowledge, it does not decrease, it increases. For teaching others deepens our own understanding and spreads wisdom across generations. Even at the end of life, when possessions fade and strength declines, learning remains a companion. The lessons we have stored in our hearts and minds comfort us, guide us, and help us make sense of our journey. They become part of our legacy, handed down in stories, advice, and inspiration to those who follow after us. This is why learning is an investment with infinite returns. It may not give immediate, visible profit like money does, but in the long run, it builds a wealth that no inflation can reduce and no thief can steal. In truth, a person who is committed to learning is never poor, because their mind and soul are always being enriched. And that wealth, unlike material wealth, never depreciates. It only grows deeper, wiser, and more impactful as time goes on. Spiritual growth is priceless because it touches the deepest part of our being, the part that money, status, or possessions can never reach. We often spend our lives chasing external achievements, thinking that if we just earn a little more, climb a little higher, or acquire a little better, then we will finally be satisfied. But no matter how much we achieve in the external world, there is always a quiet emptiness inside that asks, "Is this all there is?" Spiritual growth is the answer to that question because it nourishes the soul in a way nothing else can. It connects us to something greater than ourselves, whether we call it God, truth, or a higher purpose, and in that connection we discover peace, meaning, and fulfillment that no amount of wealth could ever provide. When a person grows spiritually, they begin to see life through a different lens. Success and failure lose their power to define them because their worth is no longer tied to worldly measures, but rooted in something eternal. A spiritually mature person can walk through storms with calmness because they know that outer circumstances do not control their inner peace. They can treat others with compassion, even when wronged, because they see beyond ego and recognize the shared humanity in all. They can face loss and grief with strength, because they know that life is a journey of the soul, and every experience has meaning beyond what the eyes can see. This strength of spirit is not bought in markets. It is not traded in stocks. It is cultivated within through reflection, prayer, meditation, and living with values. Spiritual growth also enriches every other area of life. When we grow spiritually, our relationships improve because we learn patience, forgiveness, and selflessness. Our work gains meaning because we see it not just as a way to earn, but as a way to serve. Even our failures become valuable because they are no longer seen as punishments, but as lessons that guide us toward deeper wisdom. A spiritually strong person radiates a presence that comforts and uplifts others because their peace flows outward like a river, touching everyone who comes near. Another priceless gift of spiritual growth is freedom. Many people are slaves to anxiety, anger, greed, or envy, even if they appear successful on the outside. Spiritual growth breaks those chains by teaching us detachment, by reminding us that we are not defined by possessions, comparisons, or circumstances. It gives us freedom to be content in simplicity and to be joyful even in hardship. This kind of freedom is priceless because it cannot be taken away by anyone or anything. Spiritual growth also provides direction in a confusing world. With so many voices pulling us in different directions, with so many definitions of success being shouted at us, the inner compass of spirituality keeps us steady. It helps us choose what truly matters, guiding us to live with purpose instead of drifting aimlessly. It teaches us to ask not just, "What do I want from life?" but more importantly, "What does life want from me?" That shift in perspective transforms our existence from self-centered ambition to meaningful contribution. And perhaps the greatest reason spiritual growth is priceless is because it is the only wealth we carry beyond this life. Money, fame, and possessions remain behind, but the purity of our soul, the love we gave, the wisdom we lived by, these are treasures that travel with us. When we stand at the end of our journey, it will not matter how high we climbed on society's ladder, but how deeply we grew in love, humility, and connection to the divine. That is why spiritual growth is the greatest investment we can ever make. It shapes who we are, it transforms how we live, and it secures peace that cannot be stolen by time, circumstance, or even death. Truly, it is priceless, for it is the wealth of the soul, and the wealth of the soul is eternal. Health is real wealth because without it, everything else, money, success, fame, possessions, loses its meaning. We often think of wealth in terms of financial assets, but even a billionaire cannot enjoy life if their body is failing. A person may live in a mansion, drive a luxurious car, and wear the finest clothes, but if they wake up each morning in pain, constantly fatigued, or struggling with illness, those material comforts provide little joy. Health is the foundation upon which all other achievements rest. Without it, plans are delayed, dreams are limited, and happiness becomes elusive. It is the one treasure that cannot be borrowed, bought, or replaced, and yet it is often taken for granted until it begins to fade. Maintaining health requires care, attention, and conscious effort, much like any investment. Eating nutritious food, exercising regularly, resting adequately, and managing stress are not burdens. They are deposits into the bank of our physical and mental well-being. Each healthy habit compounds over time, creating a body and mind that can carry us through the challenges of life. On the other hand, neglecting health can lead to consequences that no amount of wealth can remedy. Chronic illness, fatigue, and weakened immunity are silent thieves that rob us of energy, joy, and freedom. In this sense, health is the most valuable form of wealth because it enables us to enjoy everything else we have and to give our best to the world. Good health also impacts our mental and emotional well-being. When the body functions well, the mind can think clearly, emotions remain balanced, and resilience in difficult times is strengthened. Conversely, poor health often clouds judgment, increases irritability, and reduces our capacity to cope with stress. It limits not only our personal life, but also our ability to contribute meaningfully to our families, communities, and work. A healthy person has the freedom to pursue passions, explore opportunities, and build relationships, while an unhealthy person may feel trapped by limitations that could have been prevented. Investing in health is also an investment in longevity and quality of life. It is not merely about adding years to life, but life to years. Someone who takes care of their body enjoys the ability to travel, to play with children, to walk without pain, and to participate fully in experiences that make life rich and meaningful. Health allows us to be present, to give energy to our work, and to be there for our loved ones when they need us most. In essence, it multiplies the returns on every other form of wealth, because it is the vehicle that allows us to experience life fully. Health is also deeply connected to our spiritual and emotional growth. A strong, well-nourished body supports meditation, reflection, and discipline, enabling us to connect more deeply with ourselves and the world around us. Illness and weakness, while sometimes providing lessons in patience and resilience, are often limitations that prevent us from living fully and contributing fully. That is why health should never be taken lightly or ignored in pursuit of temporary gains. Finally, health is an inheritance we give to ourselves and to those who depend on us. When we are healthy, we are capable of supporting our family, serving our community, and carrying out our responsibilities with energy and focus. When we are careless with our health, we inadvertently become a burden, not just to ourselves, but to those who love us. It is the wealth that enables generosity, love, and service to flourish. True wealth is therefore incomplete without health. It is the foundation of happiness, the engine of productivity, and the canvas upon which a fulfilling life is painted. Money, status, and possessions may come and go, but good health, when preserved and nurtured, sustains us throughout our journey, allowing us to live fully, love deeply, and leave a meaningful legacy. Selflessness outlives us because the impact of what we give to others extends far beyond the limits of our own lives. While wealth, fame, and material possessions are left behind when we die, the love, kindness, guidance, and support we offer to others continue to ripple through time, touching lives we may never even see. Every act of selflessness, whether large or small, is like planting a seed in the soil of humanity, seeds that grow into trees providing shelter, comfort, and nourishment for generations. When we invest in others without expecting anything in return, we create a legacy that is eternal, because the good we do becomes part of the lives of those we touch. Selflessness transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary influence. A simple act of generosity toward a struggling friend, a moment of patience with a family member, or even a word of encouragement to a stranger can set off a chain reaction of positivity that outlives the giver. We may never witness the full extent of our impact, but that does not lessen its significance. In truth, the beauty of selflessness lies in its invisibility. Unlike money, which is counted and measured, the fruits of selflessness are intangible, yet infinitely more powerful, because they shape hearts and minds, inspire courage, and foster resilience in ways that no material wealth ever could. Selflessness also gives meaning to our existence. A life spent in pursuit of personal gain alone may be comfortable, but it often feels empty and transient. When we live for others, we tap into a sense of purpose that fills the soul with joy and fulfillment. Helping others, serving without expectation, and lifting those around us transforms ordinary moments into profound experiences. The smile of someone we've supported, the relief of someone we've guided, the hope of someone we've inspired. These are treasures that we carry within us long after our worldly possessions fade. Moreover, selflessness teaches us humility and gratitude. When we put the needs of others before our own, we are reminded that life is not solely about ourselves, but about connection, compassion, and contribution. We begin to see beyond our own desires and limitations, recognizing that our actions, however small, have the power to make a difference. This awareness deepens our empathy, strengthens our relationships, and enhances the meaning of every interaction we have. The most remarkable aspect of selflessness is its ability to transcend time. A parent's sacrifices for a child, a teacher's guidance for a student, a mentor's patience and wisdom, they create patterns that echo long after the giver has passed. Generations can be influenced by a single act of selflessness, proving that the effects of our goodness are not confined to the present. In this way, selflessness becomes immortal because it leaves a mark that continues to shape the world. Even when life is uncertain and circumstances beyond our control challenge us, selflessness remains a source of power and stability. While material wealth can be lost, reputations can fade, and bodies can weaken, the positive impact of a selfless life cannot be taken away. It becomes a part of the collective memory of humanity, a quiet force for good that continues to influence, inspire, and heal. Ultimately, selflessness outlives us because it is the only investment that guarantees eternal returns. Every moment we dedicate to others, every sacrifice we make for the welfare of someone else, every act of love, compassion, and generosity becomes part of a legacy that time cannot erase. When our days on this earth come to an end, it will not be the wealth we accumulated, the titles we earned, or the possessions we owned that endure. What endures is the good we did, the lives we touched, and the hearts we lifted. In the end, the truest measure of a life well lived is not what we kept for ourselves, but what we gave away. Selflessness is eternal, and through it, a part of us continues to live long after our presence in this world has passed.